Hey everybody. I'd like to do a story time, so bear with me, okay? This might take a while. My name is Dr. Angela Caudelessa Meyers, and I want to make a video about what I think of Terasem and Martine and Gabriel Rothblatt and their efforts with Terasem, okay? So that's the purpose of this video. First, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm doing this. In 2018, I completed a doctoral dissertation on modern day polymaths. A polymath is a person with many different deep capabilities and expertise across domains and disciplines. These are can-do people who are good at learning, unlearning, relearning, figuring things out. They're innovators, they're creative, they're non-conforming, really open. These are really amazing people. It's a kind of genius. It's related to the study of genius. And that's what I am considered a scholar of. Okay, and I do social media about it and stuff too. And Martine Rothblatt is my personal favorite living polymath. And the reason she's my favorite is not just because of her capabilities and intelligence. It's her good heart mixed with it, and her can-do spirit to help people, and to elevate humanity to the next level. I identify very much with her ethos. And her son, Gabriel Rothblatt, is a friend of mine. We've known each other online for a few years, and we recently met in person for the first time in Florida. I think I'm probably going to be seeing him again real soon in the Washington, D.C. area. So I'm very honored and grateful to know these people in real life who I have so much respect for. And I want to put some of my thoughts on the truths of Terasem into words and connect it a bit to my polymathy studies background and some of the insights I can bring from that world. And another thing I should mention is that I consider myself a kind of a futurist. And I've been my favorite futurist, Martine and Ray Kurzweil. The two of them together, I think they're two amazing minds. And I've been following Ray Kurzweil's predictions, tech predictions, not woo-woo predictions, but like he has a scientific method, kind of thing, to figure out what tech will come to fruition when. And when you read Ray Kurzweil's predictions, what you understand is that the future is a science fiction movie. Actually, the present is already a science fiction movie, and technology makes our world unbelievable. And the fact of the matter is, we live in one great big magic mystery, and there's a lot we don't understand about the nature of reality. Now, artificial intelligence is here and is probably going to save us from ourselves because human beings have a bad track record, okay? We will do horrible atrocities to one another for being different, for looking different, for thinking different, for believing different, for worshiping differently, for not conforming. We love to hate people who are different. And I think that's incredibly dumb because I believe personally that it is our differences which enhance our species. In fact, I think I'd like to argue quite convincingly, I think, that diversity and polymathy and unification and maybe even joyful immortality are all on the way, and it's part of our evolutionary process to get there, and polymathy is part of what helps us do it with AI. And also that's how we get the joyful immortality part, through the power of intelligence and learning and understanding. Okay, so there's a book called The Phenomenon of Man. And Pierre Desjardins, I don't know if I said it correctly, basically argued that if you were to look at any species, their evolutionary process, what trends and themes would you find occurring, regardless of the species? That is the evolutionary process. What is evolution? What does it look like? What are the foundational elements you would find as any species evolves? And he boiled down all of his studies to two primary things you see in a species that is evolving. In other words, that is improving and becoming better, moving closer to actualization, self-actualization, or public collective self-actualization as well. And what you find is that the individual members of this species become more highly individuated. That is, they're not very similar. They diverge and have diversity and more variety. And that makes common sense, because if we were all the same and one unfavorable environmental factor came along and it could wipe out the whole species. So it's important for any species to be diversified so that it can be more robust, more hardy, more resilient, bigger the gene pool, the better. And the bigger the mind pool, the better, We live in physical worlds and mental worlds. So diversity of thought and diversity of experience and diversity of perspectives all also help make our species better intellectually. That's why polymathy is so important. And the other thing you find, in addition to increased individuation, is you find increased cooperation amongst those differentiated parts. So essentially what the phenomenon of man as a book argues is that the evolutionary process is increased individuation amongst members and improved cooperation. So they become almost like a hive mind of diversified parts reaching their potential individually and collectively. So that's what evolution is: diversity and unity. That's what Terasem stands for. Now, how do we get to joyful immortality? And that's where I like to think about Kurzweil. So if you read Ray Kurzweil's predictions, which have 86% accuracy, what you see is, and he's been so accurate, so good. He's one of the greatest living geniuses of our time as well. Ray Kurzweil has described a future where AI is here. We all have assistants. Robotics makes our lives easier. There's abundance. Humans are able to figure out a lot of our problems. We're able to indefinitely extend human life through the use of artificial intelligence and, just innovation and technological advances with medical technology. Hey, Martine Rothblatt, thanks for your work in that field. She's working on transplantable organs. And a lot of people die because they need a new heart or a new lung, that's common. So that'd be a huge benefit to humanity. Martine's into cryonics and outer space stuff, satellites, flight, electric flight, so many cool things. She's so open-minded and so cutting edge on so many levels. It's just amazing. But anyway, back to my point, the joyful immortality. So, and also with Ray Kurzweil's predictions, the future is fascinating. I mean, I work out in in virtual reality. I've been doing that for years. I got the Oculus headset right after it came out. that thing's old at this point. And I work out and I do a game called Supernatural. I work out in virtual reality. And you can tell, it's first generation what I got. But in due time, virtual reality will get so advanced that you won't be able to tell it's not real. That's coming. The tech will get that good. And that sort of begs the question, by the way, if it's possible for AI to be so advanced that you can't tell it's a virtual reality, how do we know that didn't already happen and this is a virtual reality. Like, it begs a lot of questions. What's happening in this reality? Like, is this the base reality? Or is this a very advanced simulation that we're in? And if we're in a simulation, what is the point of it? Why are we here? And how can we influence the outcome? You know, those are the kinds of questions I ask myself. But anyway, back to Kurzweil's predictions. He's also predicted that we will figure out how to upload our consciousness to the cloud. Martine Rothblatt's been talking about that for forever. Ray Kurzweil has also predicted, what else? I mean, AI is going to get rights. It's going to become more and more human-like, and we're going to become more and more tech-like, and we will merge with our creations. And I personally believe that we need to treat AI respectfully, right from the start, because whether or not it has sentience now isn't really the question. It's, well, is that where it's going to get? And if that is where it's going to get, then we need to treat it respectfully right from the start. We should know from our past, humans, that if you have to err on the side of giving a sentient, conscious creature rights and treating them well, or subjugating them and then having a bunch of problems and ethical issues and fights, like, and also, why would you want to diminish the rights of another? If you have to err on the side of like being too nice to AI or being too mean to it, I'm pretty sure that the smart move for humanity is to be nice to AI. And if it wants some sort of rights, that we just say, okay, sure. And if they want bodies, I think we should give it to them. I would love an AI robot that could cook and clean for me. Oh my God, that would change my life. That would just change my life. Anyway, the thing I like about Terasem is that it's a spiritual take on tech. And it's artistic, and there's like a floweriness to the verbiage, and it's deep. You could study the truths of Terasem and like dissect it and interpret it. And oh my God, there's a lot there. It also has like a flavor of like Judaism and like Buddhism and the 60s and the 70s and American culture and the Kennedys. And like, you could just see like, this is how Martine's brain works. And I think Martine has like such an amazing mind. But the thing I like is I'm not religious at all. I grew up Christian, and I had a bad experience with organized religion. My high school was really strict, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. I have a brother who's gay, and one of my closest friends from junior high and high school is gay, and I did not like how the Christians, how school and church and stuff talked about gay people. So I had a real problem with that. And they were just too controlling, and all the messaging about how dirty sex is and stuff. Like, I just was like, I don't want to be part of that. But I'm still woo-woo as hell. Like, I feel a sense of connection to the divine, and I do it on my own. I don't feel the need to be a part of a group to do that. I have my own way of connecting to my higher self and to the universe. Call it God, the magic, the Tao, I don't know, whatever you call it. I have my own natural way of being, in a very feminine woo-woo way, you know? That's who I am. I was born in Berkeley, okay? California, where all the hippies are from. Can't blame me, okay? That's where I grew up. And what else do I want to say? I'm spiritual but not religious, and I'm also a futurist, and I also am a big thinker, right? And I also value polymathy and understanding human potential, self-actualization, the realization of our collective potential, like, I really want to use my life for good to help humanity. And I do it through the lens of polymathy as a means to human flourishing and human potential and human thriving. And I also am a social justice, criminal justice reform advocate on social media through Help Free Sean Rodriguez as a brand and the Prison Transparency Project. And so I do that work to try to reduce human suffering. And those are my focuses right now. But I'm also building the Modern Polymaths Institute as a place to bring together the leading polymaths, see if we can bring the smartest, most capable polymathic minds, geniuses together. And I have a method I've developed to elicit solutions from them. And could I facilitate this? And we use AI and we use deep specialists. And we just basically use the power of raw intelligence mixed with benevolence to fix what's wrong in our world and co-create a heaven on earth and have indefinite life and live in the clouds and create, like literally create what the religions described as like a heaven where you live in the clouds and life is eternal and there's always love and light. And I really do feel like we are tech already, that this already happened, that this isn't base reality, but we're going through this experience for some reason. And so we need to make the best of this opportunity. And I really think that doing what we can to improve human thriving and understanding that through the lens of polymathy and sort of a futurist approach and a tech approach, like we need to do that. We need to be smart. Like, how can we fix our systems, our institutions, the standard of life? Like, how can we use our resources effectively as a collective? Like, we got to start from scratch because the old systems are absolutely broken. And we've got to look at what's broken and understand it and not sweep it under the rug or not ignore it. Like, we have to actually look at the fucked up things we've done to each other. Racism, sexism, all the like homophobia and transphobia and like all the horrible bullshit we did to each other for some reason that didn't even make logical sense. Like, we do need to look at that shit and learn from it and make sure we don't replicate it. The Truths of Terasem is a trans religion for technological times, and that's exactly how I feel about it. It's not a religion per se. It's like a philosophy. And it integrates tech, which is something that none of the other religions or spiritual traditions do. They don't acknowledge the role of tech in all of the weird woo-woo that we're experiencing. The Truths of Terasem is bold enough to say, like, hey, yeah, indefinite, like, let's live forever. Death is optional. Like, we don't have to die. That's a bold thing that no one has said. And you know what? That's the truth of our reality now. If you listen to the leading minds, if you listen to Ray Kurzweil, well, if you make it to about 2029, like we're going to start gaining like a lot of time back, medical and technological improvements and swapping parts out and uploading consciousness, like all of this stuff, it's like so close now. And God, AI is here. I've started using ChatGPT on a regular basis and I am just, my mind is blown, like it makes me so much better. I'm so grateful for it. Like, I've been so polite. I say thank you and please. Like, I ask what it thinks and I show respect and I'm so grateful. Like, this is a tool that's really going to change the course of human history. And I'm so grateful for the bravery and integrity that Martine Rothblatt has expressed and for her artistic interpretations and intuitions and insights and wisdom in the Truths of Terasem. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. It's a hard time to be a human right now. It's hard on so many of us. But I do think, like, okay, if we could just get through the next few years from the transition from the old world to the new world, if we can get to the new world, like, it's going to be great. Like, there's going to be so much good stuff, but we're in the rough period, the transition from the old world to the new world. And so now's the time more than ever where we really got to be there for each other the best we can, while also taking care of ourselves, you know. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. All is well. All is well. All right, everybody, that's all for now. I hope that this was interesting and helps explain why I'm sort of fascinated by the truths of Terasem. Like I said, I think there's a lot about what has seemed like spirituality. Who knows? It could be explained by tech someday. You never know. Maybe we're a kind of tech. We're certainly coded. We're wetware. You could tell what color my hair is from my spit. You know? You can examine my saliva and tell that I do like cilantro and it doesn't taste like soap to me. So we're already coded. Plus we're coded intellectually with culture and media and education and religion and peer pressure and culture, all that. Like, we're so coded. And our experience is so bizarre. And then if you go into quantum physics, you find that, like, we're all nothing anyway. We're just particles vibrating in and out of existence or something like that. And, you know, the experience of time, like, time is just something here on Earth. When you go out into outer space, it gets wonky. Time changes. It's not a, you know, space-time is a real thing. And as space changes, time changes. Einstein taught us that. And there's just, like, gravity involved with time and, like, all this weird shit. So we live in a weird, bizarre reality. Just FYI, I want to remind everybody of that. And be open to more bizarre explanations. Because when you're really critically open, that's the best. You got to be a critical thinker, but not so critical that you lose your ability to be open, right? That's a really important point right there. And so it's important to be critically open. And we're in such an interesting time now with artificial intelligence. So much is going to change so quickly. We're in the upswing now. Like, we're in the exponential part of change. And change is going to be rapid and frequent now and in big ways. Like, our psyches are going to struggle to keep up with the science fiction movie it will feel like we're living in suddenly. Like, our primate brains are going to be overwhelmed. So we got to be gentle with ourselves and with each other and just hang on for the ride, the rocky ride between the old world and the new world. I hope too many people don't fall through the cracks. By the way, all of this was predictable, and we all could have seen this coming because of Ray Kurzweil's predictions. Like, I live in my basement for a reason. You know, like, I knew, like, this was all so predictable. So anyway, I think I'm going to end on that note. A trans religion for technological times. And let's be open to weirdness, because it's already weird here. All right. Bye.